If you like this video, make sure to visit our Vimeo page and follow us to get the latest update.
Okay, so yesterday you have seen like we started with the order management part, right? So I showed you for example, what are the different types of ways by which you can integrate your order management processes. So when I say order management means for which order or for which delivery, I need to basically integrate my ECC logistics process with TM, right? That is part of the order management. So we have seen mainly in S4 HANA also. I've shown you yesterday, like we need to activate, the different parameters based on order types, delivery types, shipping points. Okay, as well as we have also seen how the freight unit creation is controlled basically by logistics profile. Okay, so that was part of the S4 HANA environment where the order management part is set up. But when you come into standalone, so in this case, basically we need to do some other setups as well. And that's why in the beginning of the session, I told you that only at an order management level, the standalone and the embedded TM are basically variances are there. Because when we are setting up the order management in standalone, we have to do settings both in ECC and TM to replicate the orders and deliveries for your OTR and DTR creation. Okay. So that because OTR and DTR is not there in embedded, so the setup in embedded becomes more simple. So that's why the simplification functionality is the reason why many clients go for embedded. But in case you are still in in standalone TM, there are certain settings which you need to basically do it in order to make this OTR and DTR setup working. Okay, so that's what I am planning to cover today. Any other question before I start? Is the concept clear on the order management and all? Anything which is not clear to any terminology, any functionality, any process which I have shown so far is not clear? Okay. So basically, when you are moving now in a in a sidecar fashion, okay. So there are certain business functions which you need to activate. So does anyone has an idea what do you mean by business function? Have any of you activated business function anywhere in any of your projects? Any idea what is a business function? Okay. So business functions are basically the individual standard applications which is there in your ABAP-based SAP system. So SAP provides some new features, some new enhancements in a particular framework for which we need to activate business function. So as you know, like in my ECC system, we can work even without TM. But how does SAP system actually call all the core features of TM? For that reason, we need to activate some business functions. And the transaction code to activate the business function is ASFW5. So when you click on this transaction, and this is the transaction I'm doing in ECC, okay, not in TM, because my entire sender system is my ECC system. So that trigger for the order-based requirement has to be done from ECC. So that's why the business functions activation has to be done from ECC. In order to do that, there are certain business functions which you need to activate. Again, this activation is not our responsibility. It is a responsibility of the basis, but you need to tell them what are the features you need to do. So if you want to activate the change, you can always click this, but please don't do it because this is the responsibility of basis. And once you're activating something, it is not possible to deactivate or reverse the changes. So you should be very careful what are the things you need to activate. Now for your TM to ERP, like ERP to TM integration, basically first business function which you have to activate is always starts with LOG. LOG, TM, for example, IV, INT. So if you see this, this is also activated. So this means that these business functions is used to create, to enter, to process, or to display invoice that refer to the documents in TM system. So once my particular transportation management sends the settlement document from TM to ERP, okay, in that case the invoice processing starts in ERP, right? So by this business function, you are allowed to carry out invoice processing for the connected TM system in SAP ERP. And hence we can use the main SAP ERP invoice processing functionality in MM and SD based on this activation. Okay. The next business function which is required to be activated is log TM ORD INT. So what does this mean? This ORD means order. So order means basically this business function is used to integrate your order processing in SAP ERP with TM. In other words, this business function will enable you to optimize the order process and transportation planning by exchanging information about order and delivery. So if you are not using this particular business function, the order and the delivery will not be integrated, and hence it will not allow you to send any requirement to TM from ERP. This is very critical. Okay. Similarly, we have another call as the log TM, so this INT2, okay, or if I go down, maybe for example, like this one, INT2. INT1 you have spoken. INT2 means what? INT2 means where if you want to use some delivery split functionality, or if you want to view your TM document flow and TM status in ERP document, then this INT2 can be used. This INT3, if you see here, again, this is if you want to use your quantities or shipping types, okay, or a certain location for your PO processing in TM, then you can use this. So these are the different functions which you can use in order to do that. Also, if you want to use, for example, cost distribution functionality, in that case also we have to use this ORD INT2. So in addition to that, there are some other specific things, like for example, if I go to log ESOA, log, if I go up, so log ESOA OPS 01. So or OPS 02. So OPS 02 means if you want to send your purchase order and stock transport orders to TM, then you can see log OPS 01. Okay, or OPS 02. So these are some of the features or some of the business functions which you need to activate in order to make the system, TM system, know that my integration is required from ERP. And this, although again I tell you, this is also the functionality of your basis guide, but please liaison with them so that they know what needs to be activated. Okay. Anything, any other question from anyone? Clear to everyone? Okay. Now, just as we have seen yesterday that there were certain setups related to control key, right? So control key means, if you remember, that based on the control key, you can control which of the documents needs to be activated and transferred to TM. Okay. So to configure any type of integration scenario, you need to basically specify which order of which delivery should move into TM. Now, before you make this movement from ERP to TM, you should identify what is the middleware. So there are two types of middleware which SAP provides. One is the PI middleware. PI means the process integration middleware, and another is your SOA manager middleware. So SOA manager is mainly for your direct communication between ERP to TM, and PI is like called as the indirect communication from ERP to TM. So for both of these technologies, you have to actually specify the the middleware to be used, and for that you need to activate some web services. Okay, so that is again a part of the mid architect job, who is going to manage the middleware. Okay, now from ECC perspective, there are certain where you need to define the control key, right? As I told you yesterday, although we don't have this in S/4HANA because it's a single system, but the nodes are different. So in case of sidecar, if I go into, if you go down, integration with other components, then comes transportation management, and then comes your order integration. And here you can see, you can define. So it's always integration with other components. So here you can define the control key. And here you see all the control keys are basically starting with 1. So in S/4HANA, because we had based on internal and external integration, started with 52, but here you see started with 1. So here you can actually specify which sales order, which purchase order, which outbound delivery, which inbound delivery, etc. can be transferred to T. Okay. Any questions so far? Clear to everyone? Yes. Similarly, once you have created the control key, you need to activate the sales document. That means each sales document needs to be activated to TN, so you can maintain the sales of the distribution channel, the division, the sales order type. So in my case, I've been using this one. Okay. Shipping condition and also the control. So because of this, my TM status tab is appearing for the corresponding sales order. Similarly, if you want to activate your purchase order, so you can specify what is the purchase of, what is the purchasing group, what is the order type, and accordingly the control key will control which of the document will have the freight units in it. Okay. So in case you want that some of these combinations should not be sent to TM, then don't maintain the entry here. In case you want to transfer it to TM, then you need to maintain an entry. And here, if you see, you can also transfer your purchasing scenario. So in case you are creating a purchase order, so from the supplier premises to your receiving plant, if you want to transfer your data, you can use this configuration to map the purchase of purchasing group and the order type. Okay. Similarly, if you want to transfer your delivery documents, so again, transferring of delivery document is critical because if I want to create my DTR, which is a replica of the delivery document, in that case, you need to specify which is the delivery type, which is the shipping condition, which is the shipping point, and against that you need to maintain the control key. Now there is a field called as a TM number. So TM number is basically the TM system number. So in case you want to send across this data from ECC to multiple TM system, then accordingly you can create a unique identifier for the based on the TM number. TM number means the system number. Okay. Okay. Any question?
Could you please redefine the control key?
So control key, if you see here, is a description. Control key will determine which documents are to be transferred to TM. You can define as many control keys required with different combination of documents. So basically here you are specifying which document will be passed out from my ECC to TM to create my schedule. So again, the control key has to be set up because SAP will not know whether you only want to enter or trigger order integration or also order and delivery integration. So for that, it is important that you should know or set up the control key accordingly. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Now I'm going to show you one thing here about the output type concept. So the communication, you have to remember two things here. The communication in case of sidecar is dependent on two factors. One, obviously the middleware has to be set up properly because the middleware has many standard services which will map to the output of your ECC document and it will trigger your transportation requirement in TM. Now, in order to liaison with the output of your particular sales order delivery, in case of standalone, basically we need to trigger an output from your sales order or delivery in order to make this happen. Okay. So if you want to make the sales order or delivery triggered, triggering an output from ECC, in that case, we need to maintain certain configurations in the output type. So when I say this, I will just show you what I mean. If I go to BA01, if I go to TMSO, I go to 28th. Okay, so if you see here, I'll just go into my item level, shipping. I put my route here. I click on save. Okay. Now, when I go into the sales order, you find this TM tab is there, right? So this TM tab is there because if I go into these extras, I go to this output and I go to this edit, you will find that my output type is triggered successfully. So unless this output type is triggered to my TM system will not create my OTR. So how do I know that? So if I click on this processing log, I will see a message ID is here. So if I just copy this message ID and I go into TM system just to check if everything is working or not. I go to TM. So there is a transaction code to monitor the messages, because when I'm triggering an output from SD, it should also have a confirmation back from TM to have the document number populated, right? So in TM, there is a transaction ASRT SXMB underscore money. So this is the transaction or monitoring transaction for your PI messages. Okay. So if you go here, this is the transaction code for monitoring PI message. And here within the particular advanced criteria, you can put in the message ID, which I put it from ECC. And if you see, it is successfully processed. So successfully processed means I have sent the message to from ECC to TM, and TM has also checked whether if anything is issue in the output. Because unless output confirmation is sent back from TM to ERP, then the OTR will not be clear. So that's why whenever any failed messages come, or whenever you see that the FU is not created, first of all check the messages. So in the messages, if you see, so if you see here, there is an inbound message, and the payload will contain the different segments of the message. Okay. So this is a message header, this is the creation date, this is the business system ID. Okay, this is the order number, this is the ID. So all the information which is mapped to your PI services, you can find it here. So in case you don't receive a confirmation from TM, okay, then you have to go into this and you have to do some analysis of the payload if there is any error message. If there is any error message, you have to take action on that. So because of this communication between TM and ECC using the this particular output technology, that's the reason why the particular OTR also gets created. So if you go there, and then I will show you what are the configurations we need to do. So if I go to TM status tab, this is the status window. Okay.
So, Viren, for troubleshooting, suppose we have an issue where OTR did not get generated, the first step for us should be to go back to the order to check whether the output is triggered or not.
Yes. Right? If an output is triggered and still nothing is created, then there is some problem with the XML which is getting triggered. So there is a transaction SXMB underscore money. I think all of you must be knowing this. So this money transaction will help you to do the troubleshooting for this particular system. Okay. So now we'll see how this particular output type gets triggered here. So in order to do that, first of all, you need to maintain some condition table. So has any one of you worked on output type setup in ECC? Okay. So in order to, yeah.
Yeah, Viren, I believe we have worked on it. Yeah.
Okay. So in order to set up the output type, basically you need to first of all maintain the condition table. because within the condition table, you are actually specifying the combination of fields for which you want to create your output condition record, right? So that is the meaning of condition table. So in order to maintain the condition table, what you have to do, you have to go to sales and distribution. Under sales and distribution, you have to go to basic functions. Under basic functions, you have to go to output control. So, this what I have written. Basic functions, output control, and under output control, you can do output determination. And output determination using condition technique. And main output determination for sales document. Okay. So if we expand this, so when you are using a condition technique and output determination for sales document, so click here and here you can maintain the condition type tables. So once you are clicking on this condition table, you click on this for the sales document. So in standard, when you are creating an OTR, so this is for the triggering of your OTR, how the output will be processed based on OTR. That's what I'm showing. Okay. So the standard condition table is 007. This is the standard table. You don't have to create anything. Sales document type. So that means my condition record for this is based on my sales document type. So my condition table is sales document type. Okay. Next, you need to maintain the output types. In order to maintain the output type, you click here. So in standard, the output type which we have to use is TRSO. TR is transportation, SO means sensor. TRS. When they will go TRSO. Yes, TRSO. So this document type needs to be created and maintained. And if you see, when you are using this particular output type, this is the standard access sequence. I think access sequence and all of you must know. And these are the standard check marks which you should have. And this is the program based on which the output is getting triggered when your particular sales or delivery is calling that particular outputs. Okay. And this is the standard program. In case you want to enhance your coding logic, you can always use this program. And once you have done this output type, then comes the mail title. So in the mail title, you can write in any English, but the most important part is in the partner functions is already 8. So please note, whenever you are creating any partner function, okay, in such cases, the partner function should be special function because they are sending this data to external application. That's why it is called as a special function. Okay. And here, if you go to default values, the transmission medium should be special function and dispatch time should be sending. Okay. Once you have defined this particular output type, once you have defined the access sequence, you can define the access sequence also. Okay. So the access sequence as compared to the before was 002. Okay, and if I select this, if I go to the access, here you can see the order type is 07. That means this is the order type which I will use for creating an OTR. Okay. And once you have created your access sequence and all, next thing is you to determine an output procedure. The output procedure is here. And if you want to use the standard is B1000, and here you'll see minus TISO. And here you need to make sure that the transformer requirement means the requirement routine is 28. Okay. And once you have done this, finally you have created the procedure. Now you have to assign the procedure. In order to assign the procedure, you go back.
Sorry, Viren, what is that requirement there? Sorry, I
The
missed it.
requirement is a routine which will provide the logic that this output type needs to transfer data to external application like TM.
Okay, so we have to assign the routine as well in all the cases, or this is some kind of a custom logic if needed that you're referring to.
Sorry, can you come back again?
I'm asking do we need to assign this in all the cases, this routine, or this is some kind of a placeholder for custom logic?
No. See, these are all standard we're using. Okay, so this is there for all the configuration. So that means whenever you are using for OTR creation, you have to use this requirement routine mandatory for standard. Okay, because as I told you, OTR and this one is across different applications, right? So in order to map the data across different external application, we need to use this routine. So this is a standard routine which will see we don't touch this. TRSO is the standard output type. We should always try to stick to standard. And for standard, whatever data is there, we don't touch it. So it should always be there. But in case, yes, if we want to do further, any new validations are required. Obviously, we can replace that 28 with the other one. But if we are using the standard TRSO, the requirement has to be 28. Don't change that. Or else your output will not be triggered successful. Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
And the last part here is you need to assign the determination procedure. Okay. So as part of the determination procedure, so for example, if you are using a sales order type OR, for example, okay, you have to maintain this output procedure as well as this output type. So this is a mandatory thing which you need to do across all the, so different types what you have to do it. Okay. And once you have done this, the last setup before for your output procedure is your condition record. So the transaction code for condition record is VB11 for create, VB12, VB13. So if I go to VB13, oh, okay, sorry, I meant 15. So if I go to VB13, TRSO, key combination, so you need to maintain this data that against the sales order type. Only why sales order type is the input criteria because my access sequence are based on order type. So the against this order type, this is the medium 8. 8 means special function and 4 means training data. So these are all the configuration settings you need to do in order to trigger the output. Okay. Any question? Clear to everyone? Similarly, if you want to create a delivery, you go here, create deliver. If you go to DM status tab, so if you go to the document flow, you will see my DTR got created. So in order to get the DTR created, you can also go into this particular output tab, which is your delivery output. Okay. And if you see, this is an output type TRDO. So TRSO is for sales order, OTR, and TRDO is for delivery in DTR. So again, you need to basically do the output determination for outbound deliveries. Okay. Any idea where we do the outbound delivery output determination? Anyone? Anyone knows it? Where we maintain the how to trigger the output determination for outbound delivery?
V2 application.
Where?
V2 application.
V2 is okay, but in which node do you know?
In the logistics.
Yes. So you have to go into logistics execution. So under logistics execution, you have to go to shipping. And then after shipping, you have to go to basic shipping function. Under basic shipping functions, you have to go to output control. So the output control is this one. Okay. And then once you go into the output basic shipping, then once you go into the output control, then it's your output determination for outbound delivery. Okay. So shipping, output control, output determination for outbound delivery. Then you need to maintain the condition table. Okay. So there is a standard table, just as you have the standard table in, in for sales order it was 007, but delivery it is 009. Okay, so if you see here, this is the delivery time. So based on the delivery time, my condition record and everything will be set up. Okay, if you want to add more values, please feel free to do it. Now, once we have defined this particular condition table, then we need to define the access sequence. So in the access sequence, you have to see which is your one which is being used. Okay, again, there is a standard access sequence, which you can use it. Okay, and if you don't remember the access sequence, it is only 0001 because we are doing the setup based on delivery time. Okay, And then instead of, we need to create a condition type. So condition type means basically or output types. So output type here is TRDO. DO stands for delivery order. So if you go to this particular setup, you see TRDO. So here you need to go down. So here the access device is provided and this is the routine and program. So in case you want to write any specific logic for triggering any output, you have to check this program and you have to do the coding accordingly. Okay. And the same thing, partner functions, nothing, processing routine. This is the one. So once you have defined the output type, then comes your output procedure, right? You have defined the output procedure. So the standard output position is B1000. And here you need to specify T and DO. And here the recommended voltage is 440. Okay. And once you have done this, we need to assign the output procedure to the delivery type. So how we do this? We go back. The SM output, usually the output type is LF. And here I used LF, we need to specify the output type as TRDO. Okay. And the last part is to create the condition record. So the condition record maintenance is done using VB21. Okay. Oh, sorry, it should be in ECC. So this is TRDO. Okay. Yeah. Any question from anyone? So this is how you need to basically maintain the two data, or else you'll not be able to create your OTR or DTR. And you have to create a OTR, DTR, always the first checkpoint should be your output type. If your output type is not green, that means you are not allowed to create your OTR, DTR successfully because you will not process it. And if no processing happens, the confirmation will never come from TM to ECC. So this is the one of the setup you need to do in both your ECC system. And then there are certain setup we need to also do when you are into the TM system. Okay. So similarly, if you want to basically trigger your OTR and DTR, maybe based on your inbound delivery. So now I showed you for outbound. Similarly, if you want to trigger it for inbound, same process. You need to go back. So I have shown it for outbound, and for inbound, you go here. So first of all, you need to define the the condition tables and all. Same process, because everything is the same. Logically is the same. Okay. So here you need to again specify the delivery type, inbound delivery type. So it's the same, which is your 009 for inbound also. And once you have done this, then you have to create an access sequence for inbound delivery. Okay. And before you go into that access part, you can basically also maintain the output. Okay. So the output for your delivery should be TRDO, which you should have it here. And once the TRDO is updated, then we need to maintain the access sequence. And the access sequence, again for the access sequence part. Okay. So access sequence is this one. Zero zero one. That means it's delivery type. And once you have this, you need to maintain the output procedure. So the output procedure here in standard, when you are doing for inbound delivery, is E11001. That was B and this is E. And here you will find TRDO there. The TRDO is there. And then we need to assign the procedure which is done in the next configuration, which is your assign output procedure. So here for EL, this is an output procedure and this is an output type. And finally, you can also create a condition record. And the T code for creating the condition record is MN24. So my delivery type is EL. Okay. So I can maintain it, but you can, sorry. Yeah. So you can always maintain it. I've not maintained this, but if you want to maintain, you can maintain this. Okay. So this is the same setup what we have to do for outbound and inbound delivery. So any question? Any question from anyone?
No, nothing question. No question.
So always remember, wherever you are stuck, you have to trigger it always from your ECC side, and you always have to monitor two transactions. One is your SXMB underscore money. And in this SXMB underscore money, whatever error messages and all will be there. You can just check if there are any error messages. You have to double click, and then you need to go in, and then you get the error message in this payload. So there is a section called as a payload. So right now, see, there's a payload. So within the payload, you can actually see what is the error message. So when you go there, you find the error messages here. And if you see the XML structure, because PI is a middleware, right? So they are done by services. So here, this is a message ID. So with this message ID also, you can find out the specific messages. So this is a creation date, business system ID. Okay, this is a supplying company. So all the information which you use in a sales order are basically captured in this particular XML segment. Okay. And you should actually run this SXMB underscore morning in both TM and ECC for any failed messages. Okay. Any other question from anyone? Please ask me if you are not able to follow. I can repeat, but if I just proceed ahead, maybe later on I'll not be able to come back. Okay. So if something is not clear, let me know. Okay. Now whatever setup we'll do it in TM now. Okay. So my ECC part is over. So now we have to check it in transport management. Okay. So basically now I'll show you the configurations which are required for OTR and DTR setup in your TM. Because OTR DTR is an object in TM, not in ECC. So in order to create those objects, we need to have the document type created. So if you see this, suppose the sales order which I created, if I go to VA03, okay, I'll see my OTR document created here, right? And when I open my OTR document, so this is my OTR document. Every document has a document type. Okay. So in case of the document type, all the document type will be set up and created based on my TM system. So I'll show you where this is basically maintained. So we can close this. So we can go into the TM side. And in the TM, this is the document type which is created. Define order based requirement. Okay. So I'll also show you how SAP knows for which sales order type, which OTR type to be created, right? That is the most important one. Because the reason is there can be 10 or 20 different order types in ECC. Now I need to have a mapping done that against this order type, this is my OTR type, right? So before I do the mapping, I need to set up the OTR and the DTR type. So if I want to go into the OTR type, so this is the document type of the OTR. So you can always click on new entries and create a new one. Okay, this is the configuration setting which will indicate that checkbox for your default. So always remember there can be multiple document types created for OTR, but only one of them can be marked as default. Okay, so default is required in case system is not able to find out the required document type. It can use this default one to mark it. This is the number range interval. I think all of you know what is the number range interval. So number range interval means because the OTR and DTR is getting created with reference to a number. So the number range has to be defined first of all. So the number range interval has to be specified here. Next is the process settings. Process settings means what? Process settings means here you need to actually, this is not the OTR type we are using and using this one. Okay, so this is the process settings. Does anyone know what does this BW relevance mean? Anyone has heard about BW? Or rather, who has not heard about BW? What does a BW do? Anyone? No one knows. Full form of BW.
Business warehouse.
Yeah,
BI.
correct. Yes. So why do you feel BW is used here?
I think for sharing data.
Whether we want to integrate DTR with BW as well.
Yes, you're right. So basically BW is a module which is used for your reporting purpose, analytical purpose, right? Analytical means any type of query reporting, any type of analytical reporting, any type of KPI reporting, you know. So there can be a lot of reporting which may be required when you are running any process applications in SAP. So for that we need BW. So whether you need to integrate TM or OTR and DTR with BW, that is obviously depending on client's requirement. But if you want to do that, you can do it. Enable approval workflow. What does this mean? This means that in case you want to have an approval of a document setup, you know, I think all of you know what is workflow, right? Workflow means the approval process which is required so that the subsequent processes can be carried out. That is what is the functionality of workflow. So if you want to have the workflow activated, or if you want to feel that my OTR needs to have an workflow being approved before I can move into the subsequent process, then this enable approval workflow can be used. Track change. So track change means, again, track change functionality is actually not activated in standard. So we use event management to track, sorry, that is for your milestone reporting. Track change here is basically if you want to track whatever changes you are making in your particular OTR document, then you can make a change here. So whatever, you know, like we have the change pointer or log pointer concept, right, in ECC, where all the different types of traces will be logged in case you are making any changes to your document, right? So that is what the functionality of track change here is. Any changes you do, any type of data updates you do, any type of data insertion you do, all of those are captured in the log changes. This was what I was telling you, enable EM integration. So EM is basically stands for event management. So if you want to have a module which will do the tracking and the tracing, in that case we use event management. So tracking and tracing of milestones. So there can be different milestones you can have in your particular processes, and the different milestones tracking and tracing is actually done through event management. In standard, event management is only supporting for freight unit, freight order, freight booking. For others, it does not do that. So in case you are not doing that, so there's no need to put a tick mark here. But in case you want to track and trace different milestones for any OTR, DTR, you have to do a custom development because in standard there is no object for EM to track based on OTR. But SAP has given it. Perhaps SAP's roadmap is there later on, was there in order to track OTR, DTR. So that's why they are given this, but I feel that it does not make any value addition now because it is not supported in standard. Okay. Next comes your dynamic determination of output. Dynamic determination of output means you have, when I'll open the OTR, I'll show you that in an OTR you have output tab. Output tab means, you know, in standard ECC, we used to use NES technology, right, to trigger any outputs. So when I say trigger any output means you want to print any fax, you want to do any email, you want to trigger any BW upload functionality, if you want to send anything through workflow. So these are the different output functionalities. And those outputs were based on a business document level. Similarly, when you are creating an OTR, if you want to have such type of outputs triggered, okay, automatically, you can always have those things put it here. Okay. So if there is any specific output which is determined dynamically means, for example, based on a shipping point, your output is defined. Okay. So if it is a shipping point SP01, you want to do a print. If it is SP02, you want to do facts. That means you want to have a dynamic determination of your output based on input. So if you are not using any dynamic determination of output, don't need to do anything here. And in standard, you always use this output profile for printing, faxing, emailing. That means all the outputs can be basically triggered based on this output profile. And if you want to have some additional validation, additional condition for triggering an output, then you have to add an output profile here. So in SAP TM, the entire output concept framework is based on PPF. PPF stands for post-processing framework. It is a little bit different as compared to NEST technology. We don't have the concept of condition records and all like we used to have it in NEST. So when I come into the output management, I will show you where we configure these output profiles and everything. Okay. This is the dangerous goods profile. Dangerous goods profile means in case in your ECC, you are using a product which is dangerous goods and you want to have the dangerous goods mapping done in your TM as well. So if you want to have some constraints in planning while you are transporting a dangerous goods, or whether you want to perform a planning completely separate when you are transporting dangerous goods, in that case, you have to create a dangerous goods profile. So this is a master data. And based on this profile, basically your freight units can be, you will have a tick mark in your freight unit that this is for dangerous goods. And accordingly, system will perform the plan. So in case you want to have an integration with your EHS module, environmental health safety module, product compliance module for dangerous processes, in that case, you have to use this dangerous goods profile. Text type and text schema. So this is the thing which is used in case you are maintaining any text in your delivery document. I'll show you in S/4HANA how this works. Same concept works here as well. So in case you are maintaining any text in your delivery document and you want that same text to come in your freight unit and freight order, then we can use the text type and the text schema. Okay. This is the propagate changes. So propagate changes means in case you are making any changes in the OTR or DTR or order or delivery, the corresponding changes should come back to this OTR DTR document, and also it should send the confirmation back into the order and delivery. So that is what the propagate changes is about. So all the successor and the predecessor documents are interlinked with each other. So any changes done anywhere also impacts the other one. This is the stage profile. So if you remember yesterday I told you the stage profile concept is mainly used whenever you are doing any LSP scenario, wherever you can create multiple stages in your particular OTR, DTR or freight unit. Okay. So the stage profile is something which is generally used for LSP. So we'll not talk about this now. When I'll come into the LSP scenario, I will tell you. Okay. And if you move to the right hand side, as you have seen, when we are creating OTR, my freight unit is getting created automatically. So this is the tick mark for automatic freight unit building. And when we are putting a tick mark for automatic freight unit building, system will ask me what is the freight unit building rule. Okay. So this is the rule which you have to specify here. Because my freight unit is created automatically based on this particular order or delivery, accordingly, in the freight unit building rule has to be specified always. Because unless a freight unit building rule is assigned, a freight unit will never be triggered from which is linking to an OTR. Okay. And because I am not using event management, okay, you see this event management is displayed. So if you are activating event management, then only system will ask you about what is the event management system, what is the transaction, everything. Okay. Output profile you have covered. Retention period. So retention period is what? So retention period is something which is used for your archiving. Anyone knows what is the concept of archiving? Anyone? What is archiving process?
Basically, for outputs and all, is to save that specific output which you just triggered, or any documents, so that you can see how it was executed or run last time. It's not like a new document which is triggered. So
Okay.
it saves separately, yeah.
The archiving is actually the process by which, suppose if you have created an OTR, but you are not using that OTR in your subsequent process. So I don't want to keep this data for the next 6 months because unnecessarily it will, the volume and also it occupies some space, right? Every data occupies some space. So what I will do, I make a rule, okay, in case certain document has not been processed, every 90 days, the unused document should be removed from the system. That means you are doing an archiving. That means you are doing a permanent deletion of the particular business object from the system. So that is called as an archiving. And in order to do the archiving, again, archiving ownership belongs to basis. But if you want to do the archiving, you have to specify in the system what is the retention period of the data. So if you are specifying the retention period as 90 days, then from the 91st day, system will just check and remove the particular OTR from the system because it is assumed that this OTR is not being used anymore in other subsequent process. Okay. So that's why retention period is important because after certain timeline, you need to tell to the system that what is the timeline based on which I can do the archiving. Okay. Similarly, this is the charge calculation and the settlement document. So charge calculation means basically whenever you are doing any type of creation of OTR and DTR, there is an option where an internal charge calculation can be done. It is not the charge calculation which you are paying to the carrier. So again, we are not talking about any internal settlement process. Internal settlement process, if it is used, then only the internal charge calculation tick mark should be there. What is internal settlement? So for example, if you are sending your transport from A to B, and suppose the entity A has borrowed a resource from entity B. So accordingly, when the the final product has reached to the location, entity B will ask that how much you will pay me for the borrowing of the resource, right? So it's a type of an intra-company settlement. So intra-company settlement in TM is actually done through the internal charge. Because first of all, the charge has to be appear, and based on the charge calculation, my internal settlement will appear. So that's why you see that these two go side by side. Okay. And if you are doing an internal charge calculation, then we do an internal settlement. And if you are doing an internal settlement, system will ask what is the internal settlement type. Okay. So we are not doing any internal settlement processes here because it's a very one-off scenario which we have. Okay. And this is the default value. So default value means basically this is the value. We need to specify a default unit of measure, quantity, volume, etc. whenever a particular SAP business object is created. You'll see throughout for all business objects. Whether I talk about freight unit, I talk about freight order, I talk about settlement, any business document in TM will always have a default weight and a volume. And this is based on your, so when my OTR will be created, it is important to align whether it is based on the requested quantity or confirmed quantity. Because if you are doing based on confirmed quantity, then you need to confirm your order. And in case your order is not confirmed, your OTR will not be created. So to be on the safe side, it is always better to do your OTR or DTR creation based on requested quantity. Okay. And as I told you yesterday, whenever you will be creating a freight unit, the freight unit it can either be created based on a rule or it can be based on a condition. You cannot use both. If you are doing based on condition, then you have to use BRF plus condition. This is the planning profile. So planning profile means this is the profile which will control how you want to do the planning in TM. I'll come to this profile planning later on. So how you want to do your planning in TM is controlled by the planning profile. So generally we don't put any data here. The reason is the planning is done in a planning tool. And whenever you are doing a planning in a planning tool, we enter the planning profile and the selection profile there. So you don't need to enter any specific planning profile based on a specific OTR type. If you want to plan a specific OTR type separately, completely from the standard documents, in that case only you can use the planning profile or else you can keep it blank. And this is the created by change by button. So any question you have on this OTR type, I'll now show you how does the OTR look like from end user perspective. But from the configuration perspective, any question? Did you understand what does OTR do? OTR means basically all the transport relevant information from sales order is triggered and created as OTR. So it's a type of a requirement document for TM. And based on that, only requirement document, the planning and other execution starts. Okay.
Just one question. I mean, what is the area of application for internal settlement? I mean, I have not seen any real-time use. So any examples?
Yes. Yes. So for example, suppose you are a shipper and you want to transport and you have your own fleet. Okay. So you are based in Germany and you want to send it in US. Same location I'm considering. Now, because you have your own fleet, why to pay more by hiring an external subcontractor, right? So what will happen? Suppose you have your own entity in Germany, in US. So you will make a phone call to them and tell them, hey, I'm sending a shipment. Can you please provide your resource because I don't have any resource in my disposal. So that means your own entity, which is in US, will send you the resource to you. But because they are sending the resource, there always has to be some cost associated, right? Because like, you know, in standard ECC, we have this intra-company settlement, intercompany settlement, right? Same thing, same concept here. So whenever you are basically using something, you have to pay for that. And for payment, you need to basically, because they will send because at the year end, the US entity will have to reconcile for the transportation cost, right? So for that, they will ask for the Germany entity to pay up for that.
Okay. Okay.
Okay.
Yes.
So again, because it's a very rare of scenario, that's why, you know, I told you it's not used too much, but that is the application I can find out. And always remember, these three things always go hand by hand. In case you want to do a charge management, you need to build up a freight agreement. So once an agreement is there between the two entities, then only the charge calculation will happen. And once the charge calculation happens, then only the settlement document will work. So settlement is this ISD type, internal settlement. Please note this internal settlement is not anything related to carrier. It is always related to the external, within the organization. Okay. Any other question? Now we will see how does the OTL look like. So we have spoken about the configuration. Now, if I go to NWBC, sorry. So you see when you open into this NWBC, okay, there is a ERP logistics integration. Again, I repeatedly tell you, maybe just for your reference again, this is the only place where S/4HANA and your sidecar is different. Okay. Remaining your planning, execution, settlement process, all is same in both the systems. Okay. This is the only place where actually the difference lies, that you don't have OTR, DTR in S/4HANA. Okay, if you click on this ERP logistics, if you see display order based, display delivery based, or if you want to display overall transport requirement, you can click it like that. So here, if you go, you can see all the OTR, you can see all the DTR. Okay, or if you want to basically find out so I have clicked on OTR. So if I click on apply button, see, this is the sales order I've used, right? 23015. So I've used this 23015. 23015. So I can, this is work list in TM is like a report. So that's why we call it as this is also called as a work list. So if I go on here, if I want to see all my OTR, I can do a filtering. I can filter based on OTR type. I can filter based on mode of transport. So this is the original order, means my ERP sales order. This is my shipper. This is my consignee, source location, destination location, pickup date, delivery date. So you can do lot of filtering in order not to see all the data. And when I enter my sales order number, I got my OTR number. And from here also, you can do lot of activities. Like for example, you can create your delivery in ERP. You can actually set some blocks. You can remove the blocks. You can export. You can refresh. Okay. And if I click on this, you will get to see how does the OTR look like. So if you see here, see, it's not editable. Why it's not editable? Because the OTR is created as part of the sales order in ECC. So you cannot create an OTR manually. All the OTR creation is driven by your ECC system. So this is my document type of my OTR. This is the OTR description, and this is my sales order type. Order type is TMSO, which was my sales order type. Okay. Service level means shipping condition. So based on the shipping condition, what you maintain in your sales order, it will come here as a service level. So service level is equal to shipping condition. In case you are maintaining your dangerous goods. Okay, so in case you are maintaining dangerous goods, in that case the stick mark will come, or else it will not come. If you remember, in my OTR type, I have not maintained any specific, I did not maintain any specific, I have maintained this, but maybe the product which I have used is not relevant for dangerous goods. Okay, so in case I am not maintaining anything for dangerous goods, it will not come. Okay. So all these points are related to the integration of your dangerous goods product. Okay, so these three information will actually tell you whether your particular transport is relevant for dangerous goods movement or not. Okay. Then if you come to the shipping part, so in the shipping part, you see you can maintain delivery priority, mode of transport. So mode of transport is blank here. Why mode of transport is blank here? Because when I created my sales order, so if I go to my sales order now, so this was my sales order. So if I go to my header shipping. So this is my shipping condition. Okay, I need to go to item number. So forget this. Shipping type. See. So if you are maintaining shipping type, then only this shipping type is mapped to your mode of transport. Because my sales guy will not be knowing, right, what will be my shipping type, because he does not know whether it will be transported by road, rail, sea, air, anything. So that's why in majority of the cases this is blank. In case you are maintaining shipping type in ECC, then only the mode of transport will be filled up. Again, order combination, if you are allowing order combination in your ECC sales order, this tick mark will come from there. This is the plan on requested quantity, because in the configuration of OTR, you have specified plan on requested quantity. This is the statuses, what you have in your OTR. So again, this status is not manually controlled. It's all controlled based on whatever operations or updates you do in your particular OTR. So the life cycle status is completed. So in case your OTR is complete, the life cycle status will be updated. Your execution, in case your execution means your freight order has to be created, the execution has to be completed, then only this execution status will be updated. Because you have not created any freight order, that's why you don't see anything. Consumption status. Consumption status means what? See, your freight unit is created initially with OTR. Now, once you do a DTR, your freight unit gets unassigned from OTR and it gets reassigned to DTR. So in that case, we say that it is consumed completely. So consume means basically the freight unit's assignment to DTR indicates that freight unit is assigned to a delivery. That means the consumption is complete. And this is the different types of blocking which you have: delivery block, planning block. So in case certain data is missing, in case certain, you can say delivery is blocked in ECC, or your in that case it will block your delivery also in your OTR. Okay. So in case there are certain you can say the credit the business credit amount, what to say, like certain declaration is missing, certain master data is missing, the credit limit of the business partner is violated. So in that case you can have a delivery block. So in case there is any block, you can the block will also propagate here. And in case there are any blocks, whether you want to also have a block in planning process, execution process, we can all control the configuration for these blocks. In ECC, when you are maintaining your sales order, your sales office, sales group comes here. Incoterm, in case you are maintaining an Incoterm in your sales, you can maintain Incoterm location here. Okay, this is the gross weight, gross volume, which is coming from your material weight, cargo. The cargo which you are transporting will have this information that is coming there. And this is the notes tab where you can actually write some free text if it is maintained in your particular delivery. So either you can maintain it here or you can maintain it here as well. And once you are maintaining the data here, you can see this is the item information. So item information means basically what type of items you are transporting. So accordingly, you can see the product information and the schedule lines will be created accordingly. Okay. So this is my item information. Item information means what is the product ID, what is the transportation group of the product. All are related to your particular material master information. Whether this particular, because you are transporting it to TM, so automatically this material is relevant for transport. It is relevant for delivery. Okay. And this is the requested quantity. Requested quantity means what is the quantity you are requesting for transport. Okay. In case the entire quantity is getting transported, it's all automatically confirmed. And these Incoterms, so based on the sales order Incoterm, it will come. So that's what I said, that all the transportation relevant information from sales order flows to your OTR. Okay. Similarly, you can also specify here locations. So in case my source location is my shipping point, my destination location is my customer location. So this is the same information which you get from your sales order. And this is my business partner. So business partner means my shipper is my shipping point and my customer is my consignor. Okay. And the schedule lines will indicate based on the requested delivery date, the schedule lines are triggered. Any question from anyone on this general data tab? So if you understand this, you will understand DTR also very well, because DTR is just a replica of the OTR. Almost all the configuration and end user part are same, except that it inherits from delivery. Any question here? So if I go into again your business partner tab, so here you can see who is the consignee, who is the goods buyer, bill to party, payer. It will automatically come here by default. This is the locations and dates time tab. So this is my ultimate customer location is CUS 002. Can you tell me why this source location is blank? Why my shipping point is blank here? See, the reason is, the logic is very simple. Suppose in one delivery, if you have got 10 different items, and in case the shipping point is different for different items, in that case, it is not possible to accommodate all shipping points, right? So that's why they have given the shipping point information at an item level. Okay, and this I have given it at a header level. If you want to populate it, you can still do it, but in that case, you have to actually post for it, post exit enhancement there, which will populate it. Or else, generally the source location is something which is always kept as blank here. And if you see here, when the OTR is created, OTR is always referencing the sales order number. And here, if you see the same thing, this is my OTR. This is all part of your document flow. And OTR is linked to a sales order. The sales order is linked to a DTR, and the DTR is linked to a delivery. Okay. And here you can also see the freight unit number here. So the freight unit is consumed. That is what it says. So when you have this status consumed completely, that means now the freight unit is not assigned to OTR, but it is under a DTR. So this is your notes tab. So notes tab, I will run in S/4HANA how the notes get propagated. So here, in case in delivery, if you are maintaining any text, header text, item text, you can get the text information back into your particular OTR, DTR as well, or freight unit also. So for that, you can get the notes tab there. So notes tab means the propagation of text from your EDC document to your subsequent document. This is the blocking information. So in case you have any blocks, planning block, execution block, shipment block, you can always have this blocking information here. So the blocking information means in case there are any blocks, you can remove the blocks manually also. And you have to just put a team block overview. And this is the administrative data. So administrative data means who has changed what type of data. That is the meaning of administrative data. Any question on the entire transportation OTR process? Is it clear to everyone? Okay. You can also basically directly click here to go into my transportation cockpit. Okay. So that is also another possibility by which you can. Okay. Any other question from anyone? Please let me know. So this is very important. So suppose I don't want to create a delivery from here. So what I do? VA01. So 23016. And if you go here, so this is your report. Okay, you can view all your OTRs, all your DTRs, everything. And you can always, if you don't want to provide any, you can always hide it. Just click on hide, it will not show you. Okay. If you want to click on see, you can see this. And if I go on to this OTR, okay. So if you see here, right now, if you go into document flow, you will not find any delivery document. Okay. So just try to test if you can do it by creating OTR or creating BTR, and just let me know if you are getting this something. Okay. Any other question from anyone? No. I think it's clear to everyone, right? Okay. So we'll also see how does a DTL look like. Just want to check one thing here. I save it. Just 1 minute. I'm just checking one thing. Okay. Okay, fine. So now, once we have seen this, that this delivery is created, when we create a DTR, we directly go here, right? So when we go this, it's 9320, right? If I go here, so my freight unit is now, so if I search through 9320, I can always go here. And now I can put in the original delivery. So my original delivery number is 800 800 19320. 800 19320. 800 19320. Sorry, sir. Yeah. 800 19320. Okay. And here, if you go to this particular DTR, you will see the layout is almost the same like OTR. Only thing is that it is capturing information from delivery document. So this is your TOBD, this is your delivery type. This is the document type. Okay. This is a so this one is your DTR type and this is your delivery type. And this is the delivery priority, mode of transport, same thing what you have seen in OTR, volume, weight, etc. Life cycle statuses, execution status, planning status, all same. If you want to have any block, you can use the block functionality, planning block, execution block, sales organization, sales office. So there is no change in the data what you get. The only additional thing what you can do is that in case you are doing any picking and packing in your warehouse, okay, and if that warehouse integration is done, then you can always have an update back into ECC. So in case you are planning to integrate your TM with EWM and all, so all the updates can come back to this document based on the picking and the packing. Or if you are doing a picking and a packing in ECC also, that also you can get an update here. Okay. So, so the goods movement is actually updated when your particular good issue is being posted. Suppose in in your ECC, if your goods movement is status is completed, that is your C. In that case, the goods movement status will be updated here. Similarly, once you are triggering a billing from your delivery, the billing status will also be updated. And this is items, that is a product item which you are transporting. This is the business partner tab. So business partner tab means who is the business partners who are actually involved. This is the locations and the dates time tab. So location and dates time tab is the source location, the destination location. When is the pickup done? When is the delivery done? You can, you can set it up all. This is the document flow where your delivery details linked with delivery and then which is linked to a sales order. This is the notes tab. In case your DTR is blocked, you can find the block reason. And if you want to remove the block reason, you have to put a tick mark block over to. And this is the administrative data. So if you see that administrative data is not one's name, but it's an RFC user. Okay. So this is about your entire DTR process. And similarly, like your OTR, you have to also have a document type for DTR. Okay, one more thing. If you remember, I told you the change tracking. So you can see all the change documents here. In case there are any changes, you can always click on apply button and you can see if any changes are done. If there are no changes, you will not get anything there. So for example, if you want to change anything, if you want to insert any text here, you can always deliver text. Please handle with care. Okay. So in that case, if you give today's date, okay, you see all the logs are coming. So I've added the text now. So see, there is an insert because I've inserted the text. So the change indicator is I. And because there was no values there, actually there is no concept of old value, new value for text. But for any other data, what you are doing, you can get it. And you can also get to see who has changed what type of data. So this will only come because you are putting that change track documents part is there. And this is the document references. So here you can actually specify if there is any other document based on which this particular detail is created. For us, it's not required, so you can ignore it. And you have to create the configuration for DTR, just as you have created OTR. Similarly, you can also create a DTR. Okay. So for example, you can create a DTR here. So here you can see that DTR type, you can specify one of the document type as a default one. This is the number range, BW relevance, approval workflow, track change. Okay, so only thing is that in case you want to also integrate your EWM, Okay, you can integrate your EWM, that in this case, so that your DTR or delivery, when it is distributed to EWM, will create a outbound delivery order. So if you want to create outbound delivery order from your delivery document, then you can always create that. Okay. Dangerous goods profile, text type, text schema, okay, stage profile, all these things are all same, what I have shown. So event manager system, output profile, retention period, stage profile, charge calculation, and all these things are all same what I have discussed. Similarly, if you want to put in your default weight, unit of measure, volume, freight unit building rule. So all these things will come up when I come into the freight unit. As of now, just note that every OTR or BTR can figure a freight unit automatically only when a freight unit building rule is specified here. And here you can specify the tick mark automatic freight unit building. Okay. Any questions from anyone? Is the OTR DTR concept clear to everyone? Yes. So always note whenever you want to have any delivery relevant information in TM, then we can use DTR. If it is ordered, then OTR. And these are different types of reporting requirements which you can always put into ERP logistics. Okay, if you want basically to have a work list, you can click on this work list also. And here, basically what you get here is the same what we call as work list, same thing. If you want to see the work list for your overall requirement, that means you can get to see all the OTR and DTR combined. Okay. And you can also change the query. Change the query means if you want to have limited. So, change query means whether you want to put any specific criteria for filtering it out, you can always use this. Same process. And this 500 means maximum number of OTR or DTR objects which you can view is 500. Okay. And one more thing here is that you can also, if you go into this, you can also download and export to Excel. So if you see here, there is a export button. Okay. Or you can change it. So for example, if you want to see some more data, so you can always, for example, I want to see the data, for example, for this Incoterm. So you can just click on Incoterm, just click on add. And once you click on this add, it will come here. Incoterm is come here. So this is some of the settings where you can control which one is hidden, which one is displayed. So that is a column selection. You can also do a sorting of the columns. Okay. You can also do any specific calculation if it is required. You can also do a specific filtering if it is required. So suppose if you only want to see the OTR, DTR based on a specific block reserve or based on a specific consign or based on a specific area. So these are the different types of options you have. Okay. So these are the filtering mechanisms which you can use in order to basically see filter your different documents here. Okay. And this is the one which I was telling you that if you want to export to Excel, click here and you can export to Microsoft Excel. So Microsoft Excel means basically you can use the Excel sheet to open any type of data which you have created so far. Any other question on the OTR DTR? I think I will not start any new topic today. Okay. So I will allow you to go through this, and in case you have any questions, I will let you know. Okay. So this always remember whenever you are logging into NWBC, you have to always go through ERP logistics integration. Okay. So this ERP logistics integration is something which will indicate what are the different integration you have with ERP. That's why this has been clubbed under ERP logistics integration. Okay, so there are small few, one or two things which I will discuss tomorrow on this OTR DTR, and hopefully by tomorrow we will complete the entire order management part. Okay. And one thing I'm not sure whether you have been communicated that obviously it was communicated maybe long time back that there will be no classes this Thursday and Friday because I'm on leave. It was a planned leave for a long time. So after tomorrow we'll have a next class on Monday. Okay, so I will not be available on Thursday and Friday. It was already communicated. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. So anything which any of your team members who are not able to follow anything, any input from whether I'm going too fast or going too slow, whether you're exactly correlating what I'm telling you. I'm trying to go through field by field level wherever possible so that you can understand the full features of PM. So anything which you feel is not clear.
This is fine, Viren.
Okay. And just always check one thing here. Whenever you are logging into MWBC, I'm not sure what authorization of role and all you'll get. But please do one thing here that whenever you go to, I told you yesterday also, but again I'm repeating this. Whenever you go into TM system, you need to click on this NWBC, that is okay, but please check the roles because this NWBC role, perhaps you will not get it when you are working to real-time project because this is a SAP all type of visualization. Okay, so whenever in any project the people are working, you need to actually discuss with the different operational guy what operations and activities they are expected to perform, and accordingly you have to suggest the roles. Okay. In standard, if you see there is a role for dispatcher, role for freight contract specialist, role for planner, role for internet users for TM, role for a transport manager, okay, role for your capacity manager, role for your booking specialist. So these are the roles which should be known to the security guy, and you need to coordinate and correlate with them to get the more information on different type of roles. Okay. Because whenever in the real-time project, not everyone will have access to this. Not everyone will be doing all the transactions from there. Okay.
So for our testing, which role should we take for?
I think for this year, you will be having everything.
Okay. So
Okay. Because
any specific role you would suggest that we need to click and go ahead with it, or?
Yeah, you click on NWBC. This is the role. For you, it's SAP all. So you should use NWBC, and once you click NWBC, you should be able to see all the transaction application for TM. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, then I stop here.
Thank you for attending the session. I hope you all enjoyed it. Don't forget to visit our Vimeo page and follow for more upcoming videos.